talking all about Abeka Language Arts for Level 1. Today we are going to do a flip through of everything that we got. What all do you need when you are going to put together your Abeka curriculum? Do you need everything? Do you need certain pieces? What do we have? And we're going to talk about that today. Hopefully by the end of this video, you will decide if it is right for your family. I will give you some of my thoughts as we go through. And my daughter's actually done a few of the activities already, so here we go. Okay, pals, so this is everything that you could be getting in your language arts Abeka curriculum in the whole package, but we only got the teacher's manual, the spelling and poetry, and several of the readers. We don't have all of them on the desk right now, but this is the first one. And then we have language seatwork 1 and letters and sounds 1. And so we're going to do a flip through of all of these and kind of how it works, how we use it so far, and then you can hopefully let me know what you think down in the comments. See if this is right fit for you or if you've already used it. I would love to know any tips you have in the comments below. Here we go. All right, so first we're going to dive into the teacher's manual. I decided to get this because I am not very good with phonics. I was not taught very well growing up, and I'm actually dyslexic as well. So there you have it. Okay, one thing to note that it is a Christian curriculum, so I know that people use it whether you are a Christian or not. We are, but that did not necessarily go into why we chose this curriculum. It just happened to be. We chose this curriculum because of the long-standing history it has in the homeschool community, as well as how it was developed and how many years of use it has and how useful it has been for so many different families and how thorough it is. So I really needed this. Hopefully, I'm gonna need this big old book. It's quite large. It has a lot of hints for the teachers. So there's lots of things to read and for you to go through. So this is the whole kit if you want to get everything. And we don't necessarily, this is kind of telling you what they give you a recommendation for how to break up your day for first grade. It says it starts at 8:15. and ends at 12:25 for a first grader. That's not going to happen for us. Not at all. It does have all of the things included, including lunch and math and Bible, things like that. But we are not doing that. Not even close. Ours will not be that long. So it gives you like a calendar and some tips on reading and phonics, how to administer tests, which we are not doing, how to grade, spelling and poetry. It gives you some examples of what that's supposed to look like and kind of like what your year scope will look like. And then it does handwriting as well. We are not doing handwriting with Becca, so I'm going to skip that. It also goes into creative writing, what your seat work will look like, which we'll get to those in just a few minutes. And that's actually what has been the easiest and the best part so far. I'm really looking forward to that section. So it does do some history and science options as well. It kind of gives you a combination of what it could look like, how you can include so many different parts of your homeschool and kind of do it all encompassing. Now we're going to skip through some of those. And then it goes through your daily plans. So each day it'll give you what you need to prepare. And that so far has not really taken me too much time in order to prepare these things. We don't do every single thing in this list. I just kind of do a brief glance through, and then we look at what order they suggest doing it. So we go through the instruction phase, we're doing the teaching part, and then we go through application. So there are some things in the teacher's manual that are not in your books or your seatwork books. So it is helpful to have the teacher's manual for that purpose and to give you an understanding of what you're supposed to be teaching each day. Now then it goes on to reading. They suggest morning and evening reading, and then you have spelling and poetry. So this is a different book that will be, we will go through in just a minute because we do have the spelling and poetry book. And actually you don't even start doing the spelling until a few lessons in. You just start off with poetry, and then it moves into handwriting. Again, we are not doing handwriting. They do cursive and print in Abeka, so we are not doing that this year. Then it goes into your seat work, so you can do your 2 books, so your letter sounds and your writing book. Okay, so it does this for several weeks, and then as you get a little bit farther into your lessons, it gets a little bit more in depth, so they get a little bit longer. So you have phonics, you do your prep, you test their knowledge, things like that. And then you move on, you kind of teach a new concept, go back, make sure they are understanding the old concepts. You do a phonics review, you do your reading. And those are primarily from the readers, but there are other things that they like prep you to do. So whether it is comprehension or like understanding, like this has a capital letter, this has a period at the end. What's the exclamation mark for? Why is there this little apostrophe? What is this? It's a verb, things like that. So that is also part of the reading, and that's another reason why the handbook is so helpful, or the teacher's manual. Then you move on to spelling and poetry again, handwriting, which we are again skipping, but it does get a little bit longer as the days go on. It's not too long. It's pretty consistent throughout. So I'm going to skip through, because you don't need to see every single one of these, but you do need to see the next section. Okay, so we're in the seatwork section. So here we go. We have what we will be doing each day for our seatwork. So you could just look at this, but honestly, I don't think you would be getting the most out of this book if you didn't look at the daily plan. So you could just look and see which days you're supposed to do. 1 page of this, 1 page of this, 1 page of this, etc. Which story you're supposed to be reading, which spelling list. So if you are like in a pinch and you just need to look at something quickly each day to know what you want to do or what your plans are, then you can do it that way. All right, so when you're going to Appendix B here, you have your songs and your games. So you have the alphabet song, the blend song, first grade adventures, Old MacDonald, vowel sounds, and games and activities. So if you happen to be learning piano, know how to play piano, then you can do it here. But or you can just do your best, and that's okay too. So they do have a ton of different ideas for games to make it a little bit more fun for the kids and for you. We've just peeked at a couple of these so far. We haven't done any of them, but I do look forward to looking at them. I do love playing games in school and in life, so I think that that would be helpful for us. We do make up a lot of our own, so I'm not sure if we'll need it. But one thing that we have already started using is these blend ladders. And they encourage you to go through some of these, like each of these, they'll give you a list of which ones to do each day, just to get more comfortable and practice, etc. Kind of helps with the reading process. So then you move on and you have these which we could cut out, which we don't. And we don't cut these out. We haven't cut them out yet, at least. Okay, then we have our word list. So these are ones that we are going to be just glancing at, peeking at, and learning throughout the year. And then we do our 1 vowel, 2 vowel words, ending in 2 consonant sounds, ending with a vowel sound, beginning with a vowel sound. We have some blends and some digraphs in there. ING words, so like word families. Special sounds, they use that term a lot here in Abeka. Okay, so here are some things that you could, they even give you ideas of how to respond. Neat. Good job. Love that. I don't know if you need that for your child. I definitely didn't. You have your cursive formations, which honestly I don't remember, nor do I plan on using. Manuscript or print. You want to look at the handwriting section. And then you have your planning resources for scope and sequence, adjusting, reading, pacing, options, planning, calendar. So this is more for you, for your calendar. And then we are talking creative writing and how to integrate that into your calendar that they suggest for you. Again, we do not plan on using all of that. We will let you know later on. Be sure to check the playlist or updates by subscribing so that you can see how it's going for us, because we are definitely not a school at home kind of family, and this curriculum really is kind of like that. So, okay. This is yet another planning resource on what your lessons could look like. So, and a blank calendar. If you can write that small, go for it. Okay, we have progress reports, so you could fill this out. And what's interesting is this is something that could be used in a school setting as well, and it is. If you are a teacher and you use this in your school, I would love to know. But that is there, and that's it. So let's move on to the books that the kids will actually be using. Okay, so let's do Letters and Sounds 1, the phonics seatwork. So like I said, we have already started this. My daughter loves singing like the songs at the beginning. She loves this part. Now it does start off like as a really big review, like what are these letters and what does the sound the letters make. So it starts off very, very easy. So let's skip to a part where we haven't really started yet. So, okay, so each day you do one page, like the front and then the back, front and then the back the next day. So it's not a lot of work. It is very colorful, lots of different pictures. Sometimes the pictures I can't exactly tell what they are. The teacher's guide does help with that, but most of the time I can figure it out or we work together. So you are working on, they kind of have a lot of the same activities inside here. So you have your special sounds, which you have to find. You mark your vowels, like short or long. You find the word that is matching the picture. You write the word. You write some rhyming words. You fill in based on what the picture is. You write the answer. There are a few of these, which I don't think my daughter likes, but she doesn't actually like coloring, and that's okay. But you can like color by word. And then we are learning all these different special sounds. And we're moving on. There are a wide variety of activities, but also it's not so much that my daughter loves the ones where she draws the picture. She'll get out her like how to draw a book. We have our compound words, roots and suffixes. And then we have like the endings and things like that. Now she does like this book. It doesn't take us too long to complete, and I do think that it will be helpful over time. So once we continue to move on throughout the book, I think we will be, like we're going to be reading small as quickly, teaches, things like that. What else? Another great thing about this book is that so far, when I'm looking at it, since there are a lot of similar activities, like over a week span, you've seen pretty much all the different types of activities. So she's going to be able to do this primarily on her own while I'm helping out her younger daughter or her younger sister. And then I can check her work and just help her as needed. We're going all the way to confusion. It'll get pretty complicated by the end. They'll be reading this. Drawing pictures for caterpillar, bicycle, strawberry. So we get into some more complicated, longer words for sure. And then, oh, again, she loves these songs or these little like riddle rhyme things. Those are really fun for her. Okay, let's move on to our grammar and creative writing reading comprehension book. Okay, so for this book it's similar. So you're going to start off pretty easy. So you can read this, and she's excited because she's going to write a story and read it herself by the end of the year. So it does very, it relates and correlates with what you're doing in the teacher's manual, what you're doing, like what's teacher-led, and things that you're going to do, things that you're going to focus on in this book. Similar focus here. So we both started out with E and what sound does it make and things like that. And oh man, is it super simple at first, which is great because it like boosts their confidence and things like that. But as you move along, you will do things that are like reading comprehension. So Bob fed the dog, Bob fed the hen. Which one is correct? Circle it. So you just do one side of a page for each day. It does have the cursive and the manuscript or the print. We have already done a few pages. Let's see. Food is in the tunnel for the chipmunk or cheeping. So you do a lot of finishing the sentence at first. We do some 2-syllable words, dividing them, moving on. They do a lot of handwriting in this book as well. So sometimes I am anticipating doing, if we have a hard time wanting to do more handwriting, after this, then I'll compromise with her and do a different activity. If you want to see more about what we do for handwriting, be sure to check out our playlist. Again, this is a Christian curriculum, so there are a few things that will show that. Okay, we have rhyming words, compound words. Use the phrase to write a sentence about the pet, so you are composing some, like making some of your own composition. Wow. Ooh. Unscrambling. You're gonna correct this to make sure all of the correct words are capitalized. Write 2 sentences using the words below. So we are writing, we are reading the story, we are answering questions about the story. Okay, let's move on a little bit. All right, by this, again, we're reading, answering questions, writing a sentence. After you draw a picture for the sentence, same thing, moving on. It kind of goes with the time of the year. If you are doing the start in the fall and in the spring, like typical school year kind of thing. We're getting into longer stories with word challenges, and here we go. This is kind of how this one ends. So you do have some congratulations kind of pages. You're gonna write more stories, things like that. Fill in the words for spelling. This is not our spelling book. We'll do that book next. And then like changing lady to ladies. So you're ending words, and that's how it ends. All right, so let's do our spelling in poetry book. So for this one, you're gonna have to make sure you follow along with the teacher's guide to see where they're at and what they're learning, so that you can get a good idea. And there's 3 different sections to this book. So there's the spelling list, kind of gives you a little bit of an overview of like what the spelling rules are, so that you know. Of course, there is more information in the teacher's manual, teacher's guide. And then you have a couple different activities that you can do throughout the week with them here. And then it moves on to the next list. So moving on. You're supposed to have 1 a week. So let's see the total number of spelling lists. 30. So there are 30 spelling lists, and you'll be writing push, bicycle, circle, scent, grace. Those are part of their spelling. And then you have some poems, which we have done this one so far, and she memorized it in a minute. She loves it. And then she likes a lot of them. There are some things that maybe could use some updating. I wouldn't particularly choose some of the choices here. All right, and this is the homework that it has for spelling. That's right, homework, because yes, again, this is something that is used in public schools or probably private schools, more so than public schools, but it is used in school systems as well. So if you look, there is a spelling list one, and then it tells us what to do, which is funny. And then there is a copy it in return tomorrow, which obviously we don't do it that way, but this is just another place to practice our spelling words, and it goes all the way to our last list. Okay, and then we have our readers. So I decided this year to go ahead and get the first 3 readers, because I did not want to get all of them just in case we don't love the curriculum. And I did want to get the readers because we knew that, actually it goes like this, but we knew that we would, like, I really wanted whatever we are doing in here to correlate what she is learning, which lessons, which phonics rules she's learning first, second, third. I wanted it to progress at the same pace, because that's something I just feel super uncomfortable with, and I wanted to feel comfortable teaching her in a way that I knew hopefully is effective, or it is for so many kids. So if it's not for her, we will make that change when the time comes, but we are going to do these 3 books first, and let me show you inside and how it kind of progresses. So first one is Fun with Pets. Starts off, it has several different stories inside, and it gives you a few different lessons inside the book as well. So we start off pretty simple, pretty short. We have some word ladders, things like that. Like there's even some things to learn in the middle of the story at the beginning. And at the end, they get to color a picture. So she read through a lot of these already. Right. Okay, so by the end of this book, they have some comprehension type questions, and rules for reading, things like that. You are doing lots more words in each of the stories. Some things that are repeating. We have some long vowels, and then in our next book, same kind of thing. So we're doing long and short vowels. We mark our vowels. They encourage you to write in this book, just like the other one. We have some comprehension kind of questions at the end. Lots of rhyming in this book. That's fun. Some questions to go along with your reading. I could see some of the special reading rules, all of our blends and things like that they're correlating with what we are learning inside the book, other books. Again, you can see the evidence that it is a Christian curriculum, but I do know people who are using it who are not from a Christian home, or they do not typically have religious curriculum. All right. And by the end of this one, they're not exactly longer stories, but they are more complicated. And then for the third book, that last one we got, Jan's Clown, we have quotation marks, question marks, lots of ow, ound, things like that. Read and think kind of questions. Again, the stories themselves are not super long. They're actually shorter than some of the ones in the beginning, but they do look more complicated, and you have a lot more comprehension kind of things going on. It's hard to do this with one hand. If y'all like these flip throughs, then I'll get a stand. Let me know down in the comments below if it'd be helpful. Okay, pals, that was a lot. Now I know there is more of the Abeka curriculum that you could dive into for your family, and I know that it's been helpful for other families to utilize these particular ones in particular. I have a friend who utilizes all of the curriculum, and then some that just use some of it, just like me. I would love to hear what your plans are down in the comments below. Like this video if it was helpful for you, and be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on other videos for tips, tricks, resources, and inspiration, as well as follow-ups for these, how we like them over time and if they are working and effective. And I would love to hear how your journey is going as well in our community. Now, all that to say, I will see you in our playlist all about the rest of our first grade curriculum. So I will see you real soon, pal.